Frank M. Hunt II was born a fifth-generation Floridian in Lake Wales, Florida, on April 2, 1928, to Louise Ellis and Dealey A. Hunt. His father, Dealey, is also a member of the Hall of Fame. They founded Hunt Brothers, Inc. in Lake Wales in 1925. A fresh fruit packing house was added in 1928, and they have been members of Sealed Sweet Growers since its inception. He attended elementary and secondary school in Lake Wales and grew up hearing about cooperatives his entire life, as his father was one of 6 men who formed Florida Citrus Canners Cooperative in 1933. In high school, he would work stacking cans at the plant or doing whatever was necessary during labor shortages. The Hunt family was active in the First Presbyterian Church, and it was here that Frank met Margaret Nelson, whom he dated regularly through high school and college. They married in June of 1950 after he had graduated from the University of Florida with a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration. Frank immediately joined his father in the citrus business due to his father's health problems. Today, Hunt Brothers owns and manages approximately 5,000 acres of citrus grove, about equally divided between Polk County and the Immokalee area. It also runs a fresh citrus packing house that shipped more than 1 million cartons in the 2010-11 citrus season. Hunt Brothers consistently ranks among the top 15 packing houses in Florida. The introduction of Walt Disney World to Florida changed the Florida Citrus Canners Cooperative's name to Citrus World, with Donald Duck as the flagship brand. Frank still has a Donald Duck illustration in his office signed by Walt Disney himself. He was a board member of Citrus World for over 50 years, serving as president and chairman of the board from 1973 to 2003, during which time he led the shift in focus from production to marketing, resulting in the introduction of the Florida's Natural brand.
I think Frank had the original vision that Florida's Natural would be important for our grower members. It gives our members access from the grove all the way to the glass, and having a brand associated with Florida I think really has helped our growers in terms of their long-run superior returns, and I think Frank deserves a lot of credit for the vision that he originally had in pushing that brand.
Florida's Natural Growers, Inc. is now the 3rd largest retailer of orange juice products in the United States. The cooperative is owned by 13 members representing nearly 1,000 growers with more than 50,000 acres, providing more than 15 million boxes of citrus in 2010-11. Frank's quiet, resourceful leadership led the cooperative through the freezes of the 1980s to become the largest citrus co-op in Florida. His innovative thinking helped develop 9,000 acres of highly efficient groves in South Florida that has been subdivided and sold back to individual growers at cost. These growers would be formed into 3 cooperatives, with the fruit being committed to Citrus World. Hunt Brothers put their money behind the idea and bought 30% of the newly developed groves, and today those groves are a major source of fruit for the Florida's Natural brand. Frank had a strong belief that growers should work together to achieve economies of scale to maximize returns. Along the way, Frank also helped create a supplies cooperative that is now known today as Highland Exchange Services Cooperative, or HESCO.
There was appointed an emissary to leave the ridge and go over to the river and court the support of the Exchange Supply Group. Years since, the wisdom of that choice has shown us that Frank Hunt II was absolutely the perfect person to be sent eastward. In large part, Frank Hunt II, in my opinion, deserves a significant share of the privilege of being called the father of modern-day HESCO. The vote, as I have been told many times, was a mere 7-6 in favor of the merger.
As Frank put it, one person was sick, one went to the restroom, and one didn't vote. It passed by 1 vote. Modest to be sure, but typical Frank. He worked hard to persuade others that by working together, rather than individually, the greater good would be served, and his was a well-respected voice in the industry.
I think when my dad approaches a meeting, he tries to understand where everybody is coming from in a meeting, and that he's not always pushing his own agenda, but really trying to find a consensus or a unifying point amongst those that are in the meeting. And he believes in working together and finding unity.
Frank believes in the cooperative system because it gives the smaller growers more strength when they join together. He transferred that thinking to the banking system when he helped shape the future of the U.S. Farm Credit System by serving on a committee that developed a plan to consolidate 13 banks for cooperatives into what is now CoBank, a large national $66 billion cooperative bank. He served on its board of directors during the pivotal, formative years. In a recent Lakeland Ledger article, Frank said, "The thread that pulls my life together is all about cooperatives. I've been in the cooperative movement since college." That cooperative spirit allowed Frank to accomplish much in his life.
We tried to get with TCX, Texas Citrus Exchange, several times to get together as co-ops rather than beat each other up. And when we finally decided, look, management had been talking back and forth, but we were getting nowhere. We said, let's just let our chairman talk to your chairman. So we took Frank out with us, and I'll never forget Jimmy Stedinger saying that, well, heck, he's a farmer just like me. So that was all it took.
He was also a board member of the Florida Citrus Packers and the Florida Fresh Citrus Shippers Association. Frank served for over 25 years on the board of directors for Erskine College. In addition, he has held office with both the Florida and National Reformed Presbyterian congregations. He taught Sunday school for over 40 years and served in key capacities with dozens and dozens of community and civic organizations.
My dad enjoys meetings, and my mom would say that his middle initial of Frank M, that the M actually stood for meetings, that because he would go from one meeting to the next, and that he enjoyed them, and because he was one of the unifying forces in meetings, many times he found himself as chairman and leading the meetings.
Frank is a Bull Gator and a Rotary International Paul Harris Fellow. He is the recipient of the prestigious John T. Leslee Award from the Florida Citrus Packers and a member of the Cooperative Hall of Fame. Together, he and Margaret raised 5 children, including their son Frank III, who continues his father's legacy of service.
I've had the good fortune of working very closely with my dad for over 30 years now, and we've had a great relationship working together. And he's one of these that is, I guess you would term as a glass half full kind of guy, that he's always looking at the positive side of things. And so if you don't give him the right answer, then he wants another look at it to come up with what's the positive spin on it.
Hunt Brothers is still a family business today and growing. They have numerous nieces, nephews, and grandchildren, many of whom are working and serving in the industry today. Frank's nephew, Ellis Hunt Jr., serves as a member of the Florida Citrus Commission. Yet as one supporter noted, Frank never lost sight of his highest priorities of family, church, and community.
I think his honesty, integrity are the things that strike me the most. I think he was a very concerning person, very humble person, deeply religious person. And those things, I think, were the most attractive traits in Frank that struck me.
Frank has inspired many of our industry's leaders with his creative thinking and, at times, revolutionary ideas. His service to both the industry and his community have been of paramount importance in his life and of great benefit to the Florida citrus industry. Therefore, we are honored here today to induct him as the 169th member of the Florida Citrus Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Frank M. Hunt II.